Here are the tests on my 2014 standard height Toto Drake. Of course, there is no water line in the tank or on the flush valve because Toto couldn't be bothered to stamp one. So I just looked at the water line I had it set to when I tested my comfort height one and put it at that. Also, it is using an original Toto flapper. By the way, if you look at the way these handles are designed, they're so wobbly, they don't lift high enough, and they're a pain in the butt to find a replacement for. I absolutely hate these things, and that is by far my least favorite part of these toilets. So anyway, I'll show you guys a flush, and then let's see how it does on tests. The flush is alright. Personally, if I had this toilet installed, I would definitely make the flush longer, but considering the results of the tests on the comfort height Drake, I think that it still does the job pretty well. So let's add some water to the bowl and then give it its first test. Of course, the flapper is leaking now, so I'll be right back when I fix that. Well, that was annoying, but I got it working now. I guess that's what happens when you try using a flapper that was made 17 years ago. That did perfectly as expected. So let's add some water to the bowl and then see if it can take a grocery bag. I don't know how it will do on this because of the short flush, but I bet if I were to hold the handle, it would be an easy perfect pass. I think with a press and release, it should do fine. I think it hesitated just a little bit, but it pulled it through really well. It has nice suction power. Now, let's see if it can take the washcloth and the grocery bag together. I think it will fail this. Man, that was close. I think it could have done it if I held the handle down. I'm actually not holding the handle, I'm pulling it up from the rod because the stupid thing doesn't pull the flapper high enough. It's on original parts too, it should work, but it doesn't. So now let's try a second flush. And let's empty the tank. It's not going through. So I'm going to wait for that to fill up again, and I am going to try holding the handle and flushing it. So close to overflowing, and I think the lump of stuff moved a little bit too. It's definitely not a pass, even if it takes it. Technically it hasn't overflowed, but it's come pretty close, so I'm just going to make it overflow so I can call it a fail and move on. There we go. Come on. So, as I said before, that was definitely a fail. Considering it got it so far just on the press and release, I am going to try that test again, but I'm going to hold the handle down this time. Considering it overflowed before, I'm thinking it'll fail again, but it will at least try this time. So let's hold the handle and see how it does. And now we are in the exact same situation that we were before. So I am going to wait for that to fill up, and I will be right back. That's not going to go through without help. So this toilet is not able to take a washcloth and a grocery bag together. Kind of sad, but I mean, it tried. I'm pretty sure the class 5s can take the washcloth and the grocery bag together, but those things have complete garbage bowl rinse. Before I say this doesn't, I've got to test the bowl rinse, but before that, I'm going to see if it takes a dish towel. So let's add some water to the bowl and see if it can take a dish towel. I'm going to try to get it as flat as I can. There's still no way it will pass, but it's worth trying. That did pretty much what I expected it to. I wonder if it can even fit through. It fits, but the toilet just doesn't have the power to push it through. So honestly, I'm not surprised by that one bit. I am a little bit surprised that it was able to go through, but overall, I would say that the performance on this toilet is pretty good. It's definitely better than some of the toilets you could get at the time, and it's honestly my top pick considering 2014. You didn't really have a whole lot of good options at the time. So anyway, the performance is pretty good. So now let's move on to the flush tests. First, let's see how it flushes with a clogged siphon jet. One thing to remember about the flapper in this toilet, it is a water-saving flapper, and it is timed by a hole in the front of it rather than a float. So no matter how much water goes through, it will still close at the exact same time. So I'm probably going to have to hold the handle to make it siphon, but first let's try a press and release flush. That was pretty nice. It was very weak and definitely not usable, but I am a little bit surprised that it siphoned. I can remember testing one and it didn't siphon, so I'm going to wait for that to fill back up and then I'll try holding the handle. That was a nice flush. It would be nice if they flushed that way from the factory, but obviously they can't do that because then it would use more than 1.28 gallons and also more than 1.6 gallons. So now let's see how it does on a dirt test. We don't want too many big clumps because toilets aren't really meant to take big clumps off the side. So let's see how it does. That actually did really well. Obviously it didn't do perfect. Perfect is a very hard accomplishment, very difficult accomplishment. But let's see how the rinse is. There are some tiny little spots up at the very top. There's another small spot up there at the top. The only spots are all the way up at the top right under the rim. So that does not really make a lot of difference. The bowl clearance is also very good considering the short flush. I think that the siphon jet channels are pretty big, so even after the flapper closes, the water still drains from them and gives it an extra long flush. So that is really, really nice. I still will increase the water level when I restore this toilet, then it'll do perfect. And that's exactly what I want. So now let's give it another flush and see how much of that it can take. Very nice. So that is all for these tests. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and turn on notifications. It helps my channel a lot and I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching and see you guys in the next video.